Welcome back to Popcorn and Beers, the show where some use tomatoes and others use thumbs. We use the stuff that gets you drunk. Welcome back in to Popcorn and Beers and the dirty world of pain medicine that's supposed to be used for one thing. And then what do they say? We're going off label. We're going off label.
Yeah.
Because this
Big Pharma
week's
Bros.
butter on top. Big Pharma, Big Farm Bros. This week's butter on top was Pain Hustlers with Chris Evans, Andy Garcia. Evans is heavens. Let's not get that twisted. Captain America definitely has America's ass. So Josh, let's start with you. What did you think?
I enjoyed this movie. Anytime a movie starts off with those talking heads and then lay out, where Chris Evans is like, sometimes I want to kill her. I can't do a Boston accent. And but when they do those talking heads and they lay out the plot for you, kind of, and then they go into it where it's sort of not really a mystery, but I don't know, they foreshadow stuff sort of. I'm hooked. I love that stuff. It reminded me also of a Goodfellas movie, cautionary tale, make it to the top, fall down like, what's his name? Icarus,
Oh,
too close.
Flying too close to the sun.
Yeah, but
now I've got this image of you, Josh, watching them. Like, when they open up into the narration scene, you grab your knees and go, oh my God, how did we get here?
Oh, let's find out how we got here. It really does suck me in. It's one of those, like how you say you can't finish a movie or you have to finish a movie.
Yeah, I have to.
I definitely have to finish those movies,
Gotcha.
I like the movie overall. It was really good. Good character acting. Shout out to who's the boss? I forgot his name.
Andy Garcia.
Shout out to Garcia and nice butt, buddy, by the way.
My notes, I put I could have gone without seeing Andy Garcia's ass.
But the guy who, the billionaire who becomes more of a billionaire and slowly slips into insanity or so eccentric that it just throws a lot of
paranoia
gears in the tires or whatever. I should bitch slap you. That was pretty good. And the shoes. Take those shoes off. Oh my goodness. I like the dynamic between the two main characters. It was I was engaged the whole movie. The fact that it's a true story is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
How stupid everything was. Like the dumb mistakes they made. So dumb.
They already knew. Because the other company had made the exact same mistakes. And I like the way they cut to that in that one moment where it was like, we can't do that. And they kept shooting back to that one girl. By the way, that one girl had the best line in the movie. We might have to censor it, but she says to the main character, you just woke the dragon. And then she says, the dragon's in the marketing department. And she comes back with, the dragon's in the butt fucking department. I've been saying that all weekend. Emily Blunt, big fan of hers. Anything she'll do. I just saw Girl on the Train the other day, and she's just a great actor. She's a great actor. Mm-hmm. I'll watch anything she does. She is
Chris
fun.
Evans could have taken it or leave it, but he was okay. I mean, he did a good job. Maybe I'm typecasting him. I'm not sure. But the last movie he was in with Gosling, where he was a bad guy, I don't know.
Gray Man?
Didn't quite smell good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm down to see him in any role he wants to play, though. So let him keep trying to stretch his legs. I don't think he's a bad actor. Just didn't think it quite fit. Maybe good movie, popcorn, and one.
I enjoyed him as the villain. I did, and I love the scene where he says, "In any reality, does this end in us having sex tonight?"
Oh, that was so good.
Not a one. And he's like,
"Yeah,
okay.
I mean, she's a stripper at heart. Like she knows how to turn it off." And
yeah. That was so funny. Don't bring that to work. But yeah, you did the Andy Garcia with the shoes. But I love when they catch the guy recording the. By the way, that character by Chris Evans, how he looks at somebody and he knows that they got like they're working with the cops or they got something going on. He's like he picks them out. But it's funny because in that scene when Chris Evans goes across the table to get to the guy that's recording the conversation. If you listen to the dialogue in the background, you hear Andy Garcia's character yell, "He's got his shoes on!" It made me laugh really. So yeah, he goes eccentric. It's very funny how he definitely rich guy threatens people all the time. Like he utilizes his money to threaten people, like Emily
Oh yeah.
Blunt's character, quite a bit. And it's there's some things he's ashamed of doing that leads to him threatening Emily Blunt, but in the beginning, he definitely realizes she's the only reason why the company did get to where it was. And it does talk about how Pharma walks itself right up to the bleeping line and then decides whether or not it's going to cross that line. That's one of Chris Evans's lines in the movie. And then I also wrote down, I ought to bitch slap you. Because that was funny. It was kind of out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It was a good movie. It shines a light on what we're putting in these drugs and why we should make sure that we're not only listening to the people prescribing these medications, but reading the label and understanding what the appropriate dosage and the appropriate use of these medications are, what the addictive tendencies were. I love that the movie goes into the drug study that actually happened towards the end during the court case and why the drug study showed that it was non-addictive because of the group of people that they were studying on. I don't want to do any spoilers, but yeah, because of the group of people that they were studying this on, of course it would be non-addictive, right? Once you hear it explained. So for me, I gave it a poppin' 1, right on that line of poppin' 2.
Speaking of right on the line, sorry to interrupt. In the end, not to spoil much, but there's culpability involved, and they paint a relatively pretty picture for the main character, whereas we don't know if that's true. Based on true story, always do grain of salt. Yeah. It could have all been, like crocodile tears. We don't know, but they did a good job of trying to portray her being very sorry, but also in the end saying I did what I did. So at least they did that part.
Yeah, for sure. There is a pretty eye-opening scene as well. And again, I'm not going to say the whole scene, but you two will know what I'm talking about at the used car dealership. That scene was like, whoa. Where the initial patient, where the initial patient is at the used car dealership.
Yeah.
That was wild.
That poor guy. Everything about him was just awful. Like in a, interest, not in a bad way.
Yeah. Jordan, what about you? What did you think?
I really wanted to give this a pop 2, but I kept it at a 1, and I'll kind of explain why. But besides that, so Chris Evans is super talented in that he can play 2 roles, basically. Like you said, he's kind of typecast. He's like excellent at being that earnest and endearing, kind of like smug Captain America guy. Like smug, but very likable, charismatic. Or he's like the sociopath. Or he's like, he's like the sociopath, smug guy, like you just mentioned in The Gray Man. Like he plays either that character or that character, but they're both a smug
or the
character.
Losers.
Or one is likable. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's trying to be more entertaining than real, and it came out fairly close to that show, Painkiller with Matthew Broderick. It came out last month. So if you're looking for like a drawn out, like kind of slower, sadder, of like the more showing the reality from the patient's side, like the slow spiral out of control that they have, then kind of look into that. That was a great show. But it was kind of like that mixed with like a Wolf of Wall Street / kind of, I don't know if you've ever seen The Big Short about the housing market crash, how it just kind of gives like a humorous breakdown into the industry. It's kind of along those lines, but it tried to keep up the entertainment.
Dog, it's really like
more
that.
So. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't want to I don't want to cost myself jobs in the future, but it's really like that in that industry. And the higher up I climbed in sales, it's really like that. Like they describe, like not maybe to that extreme, but damn close.
Yeah, I like the conference, how they have the rap, the performance.
Chris Evans.
Yeah. And then at the end, they show the actual, like a music video that the actual guys did. I liked the evolution of the pill mill doctor, how he's like this kind of overweight, bald guy.
That was lovely.
And all of a sudden he's got like hairpiece and dressing like a Miami Vice character.
I thought he was dressing like
he's wearing like mesh.
Like if you were to stereotype an Armenian that was super rich and came to America, that's what he started doing.
Yep. And the last thing I thought was super funny, it's just so quick, is like they have the Mad Men or Mad Money type guy, Jim Cramer, but it's like a fake
Yeah.
version of that on the thing. There's just a quick part, like, this is the bullpen, fair shots. Like all smug looking. It's super quick. I don't know who that guy was, but he was hilarious. Yeah, I gave it a popcorn and 2.
Poppin' 2. So
Poppin'
yeah,
2.
I was right on the line. Josh, how close were you to a Poppin' 2?
Oh, I'm right on the line there. Yeah, it is like a Goodfellas and The Big Short, like you said, and all these cautionary tales. They are good, and even reminded me kind of Social Network, which apparently Tarantino said is a perfect film. That's
good movie.
It's along those lines. So somehow they made this, I don't know, kind of a boring story if your aunt just told you over dinner what was happening, but they turned it into a great movie. It's a really great movie with really engaging characters. I loved it.
Yeah.
So it's almost a Poppin' 2. It's right there.
Yeah.
Definitely a lot of actors where you're like, I know that person. I know them. Right? Like Macaulay Culkin's mom is in it and all that good stuff.
Really? I thought you were talking about like the characters. Like I know these characters. Like the the not trailer park, but the motel family and stuff. Like I've hung out with those people.
Yeah.
That's a real thing.
Different life.
Different life.
So it was you with our drunk classic this week, Jordan, and you chose Almost Heroes. I had already seen it. Josh, had you seen Almost Heroes?
No, I have not.
Okay, so where are we at in our standings?
We're around 11 for me, at least.
Let's make sure we have those in a notebook. Yeah,
I'll put it up on the screen right now. You'll probably see it. It's on the screen. You see it?
You could, Jordan, the 90s movie like ever.
Yeah. 1998.
What did you think of your rewatch?
So, I've seen this movie 100 times. I know it line for line. I know the whole movie. I love this movie. It's just a comfort movie to me. Yeah, it's just a comfort movie for me. It's a historical parody of Lewis and Clark. Basically, these are the counterparts to them, the dumber, funny counterparts to the Lewis and Clark adventure. It's 2 deceased beloved actors. We've just lost Matthew Perry, and then another troubled, long deceased actor, Chris Farley, who is just I think is the GOAT of these buddy comedy movies.
Is it just me, or would he be the dad in a lot of films if he was still alive? Like the lovable dopey dad.
Yeah.
I guarantee he'd have an Oscar by now. But yeah, he played that.
Physical comedy genius, and he just hams it up for this movie. It's the Chris Farley show, basically. But I feel like Matthew Perry really tried to act like he tried to act this role out pretty well, and it comes through really good in some parts, and then there's a few where it's like it's a little too much. But yeah, it's not.
He did what he could with what he had
at all. Yeah, exactly. It's not. Yeah. It's just silly the whole way through. The supporting cast is amazing. I don't know if you caught that. That's a really young Eugene Levy as Guy Fontenot.
No, really young.
That is,
I don't know about that.
Well, yeah.
He's probably older than me right now.
Eugene Levy is a perennially old man, though. He's like Steve Martin. He's just always been old.
The secret to looking good when you're older, just look old your whole life.
It's super quotable, and it's not PC. It's just very of its time. 90s, just not very sensitive to a lot of things that we are a little bit more of now. The jokes and the physical comedy, they start just right away, and they don't let up the whole movie. It's just tongue in cheek. There's no line no part of the movie that takes itself really seriously at all. Just some great parts. Fierce beasts of the plains and mountains, bears that'll rip your face off. Nothing you can do with that.
Hello, can you hear me, Higgins?
the sheep crack pudding story, the bear scratch your nose and you're dead. Hey Baldy, just the my personal favorite, the eagle with the egg in the tree, and all he's got to do is bring the shell, and he keeps breaking the egg for some reason. Loved it.
But it's such a classic joke where he can't help but eat the egg. It's so funny.
it goes off the
Oh
rails a
man.
little bit towards the end, gets a little slow. Some terrible backdrop green screening, but I give this a popcorn and one. But I don't think it's indicative of it being a bad movie to me. I really love this movie.
Josh, what about you?
Oh, well, haven't seen it. I was not really disappointed as, dude, where's my car? Like, it still holds up in its own way. It's not a bad movie. It's
Yeah.
Speaking of Eugene Levy, shout out to the multitude of Jewish people who had to play random minority in a movie. Like, yeah, you're Arabic. Okay, I'll do it. Anyway, I got some more notes here. The egg scene was great. Shout out to White Pocahontas.
That's not Terry Hatcher.
Yeah, just slightly more doe-eyed Terry Hatcher. But I think the movie was a good. It was so 90s, like you said, and it reminded me of the fact that I'm sure it was all written by people from SNL at the time, which all pretty much went to Harvard back then. So it's just a comedy, once again, written by people from Harvard, National Lampoon people, and you can tell it has that stink all over it, in its own good way. Great to see Chris Farley, Matthew Perry, shout out. I give it a popcorn, but it's not something I'm mad about. It was good. It's no Black Sheep. It's no Tommy Boy, but still good.
Yeah. All I know
Why don't you
is
get your own bottle? I love that scene.
Yeah, there's a lot of one-liners in this movie. Very Chris Farley, him out drinking the Spaniards, right?
Mm-hmm.
The entire Spaniards' obsession with just being with the beautiful woman. All of these things make for a super 90s film. And it was funny. Chris Farley makes you laugh. The egg scene just irritated the heck out of me every time. I'm just like, oh my gosh, stop. What goes great with bacon? Right? It's unsaid.
Yeah, such a corny joke, but
yeah.
And the eel keeps coming back. That was like that was the only time I really laughed out loud. But I definitely did laugh out loud.
I did. I laughed out loud.
Yeah.
Or like when they at the very end of the movie, and this movie's over 20 years old at this point, so who cares if I spoil it? When he runs into them at the bottom of the beach, and he goes, "Wait, how'd you guys get down here so fast?" And they're like, "Oh, there was a beautiful Indian trail. They even took the time to carve steps in." And Chris Farley, yeah, if only we had looked around for a brief moment.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah, that SNL humor from back then. Classic.
So for me, it was a popcorn, but it wasn't not funny. It was funny. It's just you've gotta understand what you're getting yourself into when you pop this one on.
Mm-hmm.
Josh, for the first time in a long time, for the first time in forever, you watched more films than anyone on the show.
Yeah, but I did kind of cheat. Though, because a lot of them were short films. Okay. Let's start with those. Get them out the way. You guys ever heard of Amuleto? It's a studio that works out of YouTube.
Nope.
You've probably seen a couple of the videos. It's Amuleto is this studio or production company, whatever. But it's on YouTube mainly, and it's short films by someone. I don't know, student films or something. But it's all self-contained, a la Love, Death, Robots or Black Mirror. Anthology. And it's really just come up with a concept, make a 15-minute movie. So the one I saw was called OI, Original Idea. And the whole idea of the movie is there's nothing new under the sun. We all know this. There's no real original ideas. It's all offshoots of other ideas and stuff like that. So this movie, the main character thought of an original idea, completely his own idea. So he tells someone the idea. You never get to hear the idea, by the way. He tells someone the idea and you see their face is like, holy crap, how'd you think of that? And it's like, we got to tell everybody. And in all this enthusiasm, their head explodes because it's so original that no one can take it. So he's in the bar drinking his life away because he doesn't know how to share this idea and he's killed his wife, he can't tell anyone. And then it goes into the CIA catches on and they put him in a room, soundproof room, and they just make him tell the idea to death row inmates. So he just over and over and over is killing death row inmates. It got kind of dark.
Yeah.
It was fun. Cool. I give it a popcorn 1. I just suggest Amuleto. It's spelled the way I just said it out loud. And just watch a couple of them. There's one about a Groundhog Day for a black man where the cop keeps killing him no matter what he does.
Oh, I've
That's a
seen
whole
that.
separate
I've
episode.
actually seen that
Yeah,
one. That's starring the rapper Joey Badass.
but yeah, exactly.
Oh,
So stuff like that. Yeah, so that's one thing. Another thing I saw, unedited footage of a bear. You guys ever heard of this? It's from like back when Adult Swim was around on the TVs, and at 3 a.m. they can play whatever they want because mom's not watching.
Okay, gotcha. That's how I
It's
watched The Room for the first time.
Okay, yeah. Unedited footage of a bear is some creepy shit, dude. It starts off with just what it sounds like, but then it fades out and goes to a allergy commercial. Then the allergy commercial like extends and gets longer, and oh my god, dude, it gave me the creeps. Write it down, go watch it. Unedited footage of a bear. Popcorn
Unedited
1.
footage of a bear.
Okay, moving on. Blue Eye Samurai show just dropped on Netflix. It's kind of animated like maybe kind of like the What If series on Disney's, and it's a samurai who has blue eyes, so he's gaijin, half gaijin. He's called a mongrel and stuff. It seems like a pretty good show. It's really well animated. I'm just under the first episode, but it's beautiful, good storytelling, a little bit slow, but incredible animation. And cool story. It's not like an anime where it's like over dramatized and stuff. It's its own thing. I give it so far popcorn, but only seen one episode. All right, then I watched The Man from U.N.C.L.E. Talking about Matthew Perry's passing. Someone else who passed this week or last week was David McCallum. David McCallum, you might know him as the old coroner from NCIS. He was in like 400 episodes of that. He was the guy who always has the trivia. Oh, by the way, back in the ancient days. Anyway, he's also the guy who was in the original The Man from U.N.C.L.E. television show in Britain. So that's why I bring that up. And he's also responsible for the original song that Dr. Dre took and made the next episode. Down, 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 down. Like that was his song he made way back in the 70s. So RIP to him. Yeah, pretty cool. Nice web of
a bit of trivia
career. So he passed. Anyway, Man from U.N.C.L.E. It's a movie that had all the ingredients and just didn't quite hit the head.
I liked it.
I like it too. I like the movie. It's not a killer though. I don't know why. In a lot of ways, it's better than most Bond films, and it's kind of a Bond film. Secret agents and stuff. But it's about the American agent and the Russian agent have to work together and stop the bomb from happening. It has really incredible chase scenes. Really cool about this is how the American does it, this is how the Russian does it, and then they butt heads all the time, end up being friends, blah, blah, blah. The villains were okay. The setting was really good. It had everything required to be a great, great movie, and it's just a popcorn and one. I don't know. I can't tell you what was wrong with it.
An American man playing a British man.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Interview with a Vampire. You could do that with so many different things.
Shout out Interview. Yeah. I don't know. I couldn't tell if he was bad at English accent or American accent, or if it was like, yeah, he's got a decent American accent, but back then.
That was part of my review for Paid Hustlers. I'm so sorry to interrupt you. Emily Blunt's accent was so distracting. That was the one thing. That's another reason why I knocked it down to a pop and one. Is her accent, if you pay attention to her dialogue, her accent fades in and out at times. And I'm like, this is annoying a little bit.
Yeah. Henry Cavill had that. Not that he slipped into an English accent. I feel like he kept the American accent, but his inflection, his timing was very English. Like, you have to get to the races. He didn't do I don't know. It was somewhat transatlantic. It was just strange, but unimportant. Good fight scenes. Great movie. Popcorn and one. Pretty good stuff. I watched the documentary. You proud of me, Frye?
Yes.
The documentary is called Silver Dollar Road. It's on Prime. It's new. It's a story of white gentrification and the victims. And it's still going on, buddy. Since always, it's never over for these poor black people.
Or Latino communities.
Or anyone. Anyone who's not white and rich, go find somewhere else to live.
I don't want to get in the way of your review of Silver Dollar Road, but do you remember the episode of King of the Hill where that starts to happen because Peggy starts selling houses in Ernesto's neighborhood? And Ernesto rolls up and he goes, "They put salmon in the fish tacos, Hank. Salmon!" And it's like all the hipsters.
Yeah. I forgot what comedian was talking about that. Like Brooklyn, we have a Pier 1 Imports now, or Whole Foods or something. That's how you know they're coming. Anyway.
The second that Starbucks hits.
Yeah, it's funny to talk about and joke about, but it's a reality, and this is a really hard hitting documentary about this family has had the land since one generation after slavery ended, quote unquote. In the bottom of North Carolina, like right on the water, at the end of Silver Dollar Road, is their, I think, 45 acres that they have that they've been fighting to keep and turned it into a profitable land where they tilled it. They did crabbing, fishing, shrimping, Bubba Gump style, you know. And they have their own beach because that's just how it's laid out. It's theirs. And they talk about the family, like extended family, all came to Silver Dollar Road. They said Silver Dollar Road. They had a really weird accent, but everyone would come, and it was this wonderful safe haven for all this huge black family and the black neighborhood. They can all come down to the beach and not worry about the white man because you can't just go to the beach as a black person over there. So they had their own, and it was great. And all of a sudden, someone found out about it, did a shaky deal, and got the government on their side to just take the land. So all of a sudden, it's ours now. It's not yours anymore. There's no proof that it's yours, even though they had proof. They had a lawyer. They had everything. They based it all on the sham contract that was proven to be a sham, but they're like, who cares? It's not your land anymore. So, two of the men in the family, the more the patriarch types, they just go to where their house is, and they're caught trespassing on their own land, and they go to jail for 8 years. And this is in 2010. This is not old. They said they were handcuffed to their bed. They couldn't even roll over. I mean, the conditions were awful, and it was just a trespassing charge. 8 years for trespassing. Eventually, they got out. The ending of the show is they're still trying to fight it. They're still trying to get this land and keep it. It's theirs right now, but it's not official all the way yet, and it's just really difficult to hold down. But it's a beautiful look into this family and the inner workings of it and how far back it goes. It goes through the whole family tree. And
you think Oscar?
I don't know, man.
Oscar nominee?
It's possible. It's possible. I don't think it's like a huge worldwide big pharma upset type of movie. I don't think it's like that. I think maybe it gets overlooked because this shit happens all the time. And it's wonderful this family got brought to light, and it's just, I mean, I'm starting to get some tears coming just because of how prevalent this is in our society, and how like they're just one family of a billion this has happened to, whether it's in the barrio or Scottsdale, Arizona, or whatever, you know what I mean? It could be anywhere. If a white man likes what you got, guess what? And man, it's a popcorn too. You must watch it.
John Oliver did a special on this in California, in Southern California, about a black family that had their beachfront property taken, and it's like land worth estimated in today's like $20 million or something crazy like that,
right?
Because of where it is in California, and they actually got it back because like John Oliver like brought it to light. And the family was like, "We're still fighting. Our name is on the beach," and they like show the plaque that has their family's name on it and everything.
The guy's name is on it. Yeah, I remember that story.
Yeah, and they did actually get pieces of their land back from the state of California. Gave it back, but
notable about this is like when the man got out of jail, he finally gets to sit in his chair and he's just looking out on this beach. The look on his face when he's just been tooken. You know what I mean? Like, just that is worth watching the show. And a line that I just loved right before they got arrested. Someone's got a phone camera. They're, "Don't go over there. Don't go over there." And he goes over there anyway. And he said, "Billy, he white. He can't do nothing but lie. They've been stealing and killing and Ku Klux Klaning all this time." And she had nothing but hate in her voice with it, but it was funny, kind of. Next up, I watched Robin Hood, the 2010. I think it's now on Netflix. Just dropped in the new releases. Well, it had Russell Crowe. Russell Crowe is Robin Hood 2010. They did a really good job with historical accuracy, more or less. You know what I mean, like costuming and settings and stuff. And he was a good Robin Hood. They did a good job of kind of reinventing the storyline, having it their version, but not over the top, like Guy Ritchie film or anything. You know what I mean? They didn't change it that much. In the end, it ends up being a prequel. Like, and now the story gets told. Pretty good. I liked it. I give it a popcorn and 1. Popcorn and 1. What it reminded me of, though, it was 2010. Around that time, there was quite a lot of movies that were takes on old stories. That reminded me specifically of The Last Legion, 2007, where it's a prequel King Arthur story, but it's about like Caesar's, the last Caesar in the line. He goes to England with, anyway, someone who's kind of Merlin, but it's just Anthony Hopkins. That was a trend back in those times when it was like, let's make it more realistic and a prequel to the legend. That kind of happened
but have wizards
a few times. Yeah, but have wizards. Even kind of Beowulf-y. Remember Beowulf, the CG flop? Kind of that era. Kind of that era.
It was one of the biggest books I had ever read, and I went and saw that Beowulf monstrosity.
Invincible. I watched Invincible. Invincible dropped on Friday, boys and girls. The coolest show ever. Had a great intro. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but you can check out our TikTok at Gorp Show I'll spoil it for you there if you want to get spoiled. Wonderful. They did a great job. They teased. You remember how in the first season they did like, he must be, and then it shows Invincible title card?
Yeah.
They teased you with that in this episode 3 times. He's not invincible. Like, they don't do it. Like, they tease you with it.
Yeah.
Setting up the story coming up, since I know the story from reading the comic books, they're doing an incredible job. Everything that they changed from the comic book is an improvement, which is so rare to see. It's going to be a great season, boys. I'm sorry we only get 4 episodes, and they're going to bring the next half of the season sometime later. I don't know.
It's because of the writer's strike.
Writer's strike and Christmas. They don't want to get a slump in ratings reviews. But yeah, I'm real excited for it. I know we don't usually review just the first episode of a season. We wait till it's all over, but I couldn't help it. I love this series. I love this story, and they're doing a great job. I'm so excited. Popcorn and 3, and I think that's all I got.
That could be up for that could be up for something that we can do, because there are good episodes that sometimes it's like, damn, I have to talk about this episode. Yeah, I watched it as well. It was great, but I don't view it on the same level as you do, because it's a passion project essentially for you as a fan.
Love it. Yeah,
but they are definitely they're definitely into the multiverse this season.
Sorry, what was I watching this week? The only thing I watched one thing. Busy week for me, but I did on Halloween night. Sat down, wanted to watch a scary movie, something really good that I'd never seen before. So I watched 28 Days Later. I'm a huge fan of Cillian Murphy. Yeah. He's probably the front runner. He's the lead horse in the Best Actor Oscar race. I don't know if it was the streaming service I watched it on, because I watched it through like Amazon, but then it was through some other third party streaming service,
like a Tubi or a Freevee,
something like that. Yeah. So I don't know if it was the quality of the movie, like, because I've never seen it. I've seen bits and pieces of this basically. But the camera is super grainy throughout the movie, and shots are kind of like herky jerky all over the place. But the scenes, the actual setup of the scenes, the backdrops of this apocalyptic, post-zombie apocalyptic world are like great, super haunting, even though there's like no dialogue. It's just very far away pan shots, and it's super scary. The Walking Dead totally ripped it off. The beginning of The Walking Dead, how he wakes up in a hospital bed, all that. First 10 minutes, you get a great intro to the movie where you get like the headlines and news flashes of this rioting and stuff, and then the monkeys in the lab and all of that. Of course, it starts with monkeys in a lab. Rage zombies is the thing that this introduced. No more slow zombies. It's like full sprint, crazy rage zombies.
Instant transformation too.
Yeah. That's super scary stuff. Great acting, except for the little girl. Well, I wouldn't call her little, like the preteen girl. The teenage preteen girl. She's not great, not good in this movie. Gets sluggish around the middle, but the conclusion is awesome. He like totally Home Alones these like mercenary soldier guys with zombies. Really cool. I really like that ending. I give this a popcorn in 2.
Popcorn in 2. You got to check out 28 Weeks.
I will. Yeah, it's definitely on the docket for probably next week.
There's supposed to be a 28 years coming soon too.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
All right, so on to Frye and what he was watching this week. Well, Vought is back with Gen V, the spinoff to The Boys. and I think it starts off a little slow, and then I think it's a little bit more fun than a lot of the episodes of The Boys, because there's something in every single episode of Gen V, and you find out that they opened a college for superheroes, but this college isn't to benefit the superheroes, it is to study them. And there's a lot to watch. I gave it a pop 2. I don't want to give too much away because anything I say is probably going to be spoiling some things. But let's just say you get a little backstory to some of the major heroes that you've grown to love from The Boys as well. You're getting some Homelander backstory. You're getting some of the Senator's backstory. You're getting some of the more ancillary district heroes' backstories. So it's a lot of fun. It's a good show. It's interesting. It shows that these parents put their children in harm's way when they injected them with Compound V, and what actually happens at the advent of their superpowers. You get a couple sob stories for sure. And there's also a lot of daddy didn't love me. Like, oh my gosh, you're so obsessed with work, or all you ever wanted me to be is your cash cow. Like lots of that. And you didn't think about the consequences when you did this to me, or I never had a choice in this matter. A lot of it reminds me of like, well, I didn't ever ask to be born. You know, there's a lot of that going on. But overall, I gave it a pop 2. Then I watched all of Twisted Metal finally. I know Jordan already gave us a review on this. But Anthony Mackie, like, he's got some deal with Peacock, I swear, because he's in everything that Peacock puts out. And it was fun. Very Orange is the New Black style, where they, you know, show you the character's past, and you kind of know you're going to learn about that character. It's going to be their episode, right? Because this is how this character got here. This is why they are the way they are, and then, you know, constant flashbacks and bring you back to where we are current day or present day. I gave it a pop and 1. It's definitely setting up a story. Sweet Tooth is a lot of fun. There's a lot of love for their vehicles. And of course, you have corrupt rich people that are taking over the world as far as a post-apocalyptic world is concerned. So that is a lot of fun. But they're basically setting up the Twisted Metal tournament hosted by everyone that's played the video games will know this.
Calypso.
Yes.
Hey, so the first season has nothing to do with the tournament. That's interesting.
No, it's all set up.
Well, that's cool. Let me ask you about Calypso. He's not in the show, really?
No, so you get a voice, a disembodied voice one time.
Okay. I'm interested to see how they play Calypso, because if you have played the games, it's always a twist ending, like a monkey's paw kind of. You get a wish if you get the thing, if you win the tournament. And he has some sort of supernatural powers that don't get explained. I was wondering how that gets played out. I guess we'll see.
They kind of do him like the Wizard of Oz in the one scene you get him in. Okay. It's very Wizard of Oz, and the senator or the governor of San Francisco gets her wish, but he gets her wish wrong, right? Because just like in the video game, the wish is always kind of mixed up. Yeah. Like it's a little misinterpreted, right? So that's what happens there. Like I think Axel wishes to be a complete machine, and he turns him into a car. Yeah. Like I remember that one. Yeah. I don't know. If you're lazy kids and you don't want to buy a PlayStation emulator, just go to YouTube. Everybody's downloaded the endings to every single video game ever. So you can just watch it. And
it's not really like gold or anything. You don't need to watch it.
No. It's
like the endings of the game, not the show.
Yeah, kind of the finales to like Mortal Kombat. It's, you know, you did all this stuff to get to the very end, and you're kind of like, was that it? Is that what I should be happy with? I mean, I guess I'm cool. I guess it's good. Like that's kind of.
And then you say, yeah, whatever, and then you start over with a new character because the game is really fun.
Yeah. Yeah. So that is what I remember. I know, like, there was eventually Twisted Metal Black. I think you finally get to see Calypso for real or something. I don't know. I stopped playing.
Twisted Metal Black. Twisted Metal 2, he shows up as well.
Does he?
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't played in forever.
Yeah, those are burned into my brain. I remember that.
It was one of those games that you sat around the bedroom with all your friends, and you know, if you lose, you got to get off the sticks, man. Yeah. Next man up.
Yeah, couch co-op type of stuff. It's a dead language in video games lately. So that was one of the first, not one of the first, but one of the real big ones where everyone sat around like a Halo or a GoldenEye. You know what I mean?
I know I'm in the minority because people don't want to be out in public and be around their friends anymore if they're not talking to them through a computer screen. Weird that I said that on this platform, but I uh I kind of miss that. I thought that was a lot more fun. You're right next to each other. You
Couch
got the
co-op
big
is
bowl of
the best.
yeah, big bowl of chips or whatever. You got a pizza, and you're just having fun with your buddies.
Is it even fun if there's no one to see you throw a controller? You
Yeah,
know, if I throw a
right.
controller in the woods and there's no one there to see it.
Or to be talking smack in your ear, or maybe to like outside of the smack talk, to like right when you're getting really close to beating the game, to be like, dude, you can do this, dude, you got this, keep going. Or to see a fight break out between Wilson and Dan over Soul Calibur. That was also like a memory that's burnt in. So I don't know. That's one of those games that drums up those memories. Lastly, I watched Quiz Lady, starring Aquafina and Sandra Oh. It starts off as the sad story of a loner latchkey kid addicted to quiz shows, eerily similar to Jeopardy, and the villain in this story is eerily similar to Ken Jennings. But you get, you get a lot of different tropes thrown at you. Her mother's in trouble with the mob, so now this mild-mannered, sad citizen has to pay her mother's debt off, and the only way to do it is by going on the quiz show. However, Sandra Oh and Aquafina make this palatable. They make the movie. It is fairly lazy. The tropes are fairly obvious, but the actresses deliver in every facet of the movie. And there is a fight. I'll give you a quick little snippet. There is a fight in the hotel between these two sisters, and while they're fighting, they're in a colonial style hotel, and the manager is dressed as Ben Franklin, and he walks up and he goes, "Pardon me, ladies," and Aquafina yells out, "Bleep off, Ben Franklin." And he turns around and goes, "I absolutely will." And he turns around and walks away, and I found that hilarious. It's eccentric, it's over the top, it is a fun movie. It will pull at your heartstrings in like at least one scene, but overall I think it's a quick watch, hour and 40 minutes. It's entertaining. I think 90%, right? 90% entertaining. I gave it a popcorn and two. Very, very little lulls, lots of one-liners, lots of funny bits. So a pop and two from me. So from me to you, Josh, it's your drunk classic this week. What do you have us watching?
It is my drunk classic. In the spirit of, Halloween's past, and now we're getting into Noviembre. What do you do around the holiday season? You watch a lot of Hallmarks. You watch a lot of love stories. And I'm not sure that we've had a love story drunk classic, have we? So we're going to watch Far and Away with Tommy Cruise and Nicole Kidman.
Far and Away.
Have you seen that?
I have to look at it, to be honest. Maybe.
You might
I've
have
seen a lot of Tom Cruise.
But you get to see Tom Cruise with a bad Irish accent and Nicole Kidman with a bad English accent.
Can't wait to watch Tom Cruise hypnotize Nicole Kidman with Scientology all over again.
Yeah.
Now, for our butter on top, we always have to go with the blockbusters. There's going to be a lot of art films coming out in the coming months. We're going to do our best to see multiple movies, especially if they're released on streaming platforms. But not to keep you in suspense any longer, it will be the Marvels. So are we excited to see Captain Marvel Part 2?
Yeah, Captain Marvel Part 2. Which Marvel are you most excited about? Because I'm most excited about Photon. I like her as a character.
I want to see Camilla Khan. I want to see the development of that actress. I want to see how she evolves. Because remember, Ms. Marvel was her first acting job. So let's see what she does with this movie.
She was so adorable in that show. She really just hit you right in the heart. She's just a cute kid who's got a lot of charisma, and I can't wait to see what they do with her, for sure.
She definitely grew on me. I was rough on her at first, but I have to listen and say, look, it's her first time. It's her first time doing this. Like, give her a chance. Let her find her sea legs. But as always, we appreciate you joining us. You can always watch this show on the Sad Fan Podcast Network on YouTube. Follow us at Popcorn and AN Beers on X. And soon there will be a TikTok, there will be an Instagram. But until then, follow at Gorp Show. for some of the clips from this show. Josh has gotten really good at giving you his insights into exactly what it is he's watching. Those are fun clips, so tune in for those. You got to hear about his favorite band on the most recent one. And I'm going to do my best to get better at that for this show. But keep an eye, because there will be Gorp clips going up, because Gorp is every 2 weeks now. So we got to keep you inundated with all the clips from the show. And this last episode was fun. So as always, we will see you at the movies. You guys get the popcorn. We got the beer.